Let's make some noise. Come on.
Thank you, Nick Foles. Kind of a little technical problem there, but Nick Foles coming through for me. Yes, indeed. Let's make some noise, everybody. I'm back. It's been a minute, 8 days to be precise, and the last time we got together here on the Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. But better late than never. I've returned to base camp for the week. I will be back on the road Sunday, and then I will be down there until I'll be down south until probably early April. But I'm back. Trying week. It was a very trying broadcasting week. We got one show in, and I've missed a ton of stuff in the process. So it's great to be back in the seat. It's great to be back with you. And tonight we're going to get some things taken care of. We're going to get caught up. What's in the news tonight? Well, it's baseball season, right? I know the Eagles are, whatever the legal tampering I was going to say Columbine, but that's the wrong phrase. Combine has ended, and now it's getting ready to get into the free agent period. Eagles are hiring coaches. They hired a quarterback coach. We can talk Eagles if you want, but honestly, I don't care about the Eagles at this point. This is not football season. This is everything to do about baseball, because we not only have the Phillies that are in full swing spring training mode, but we got the greatest of the great World Baseball Classic starting in a mere 3 days. Phillies are sending 16 players in all to participate around the world against each other for the hopes of bringing in the gold. Team USA looking to avenge their 2023, was it 23, 22? What year was that? Was it 23? Loss to Japan. Want to bring back that gold. Team USA will actually play a scrimmage tomorrow in Arizona against the San Francisco Giants at 3 p.m. on ESPN. For those of you that are going to be tuned in, like I will be, we're going to get into some World Baseball Classic. We're going to get into some Phillies. We're going to get into some Flyers, because right now and the fact that I'm back tonight also means that I'm back to do some clear the ice, because we got a twofer tonight, and I have you on the call for clear the ice in about, well, I'm not in, it's got about minutes and 20 seconds to go, but we're going to do it a little bit later. But the Flyers are winning as we speak, 2-1 late in Toronto as the resurgence continues in the 2026 season. And here's your clear the ice schedule for the week. Mike Lara will be back here on Thursday night for the Mammoth, and I'll come at you on Saturday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins as we got to get hockey back going again. The Olympic break is over. The last time I spoke to you was the night Team USA won the gold. And all the political backlash, whatever. If you want to talk about that, we can, but don't have time for that anymore in my life. But obviously a great moment for the country. And hopefully the baseball boys can keep the wave of nationalism going with the victory in the WBC starting here on the 5th. I believe Team USA's first game is on the 7th. If I am mistaken. So the Maple Leafs just tied it late. So 2 minutes, 30 seconds ago, and I have apparently a lot of technical problems. So I'm going to click off of this. Maybe that'll help things out. But so it is now 2-2. Flyers, Maple Leafs, as they can come down the stretch in that game. But we're back. We're back. Our country in a war, but let's focus on sports. I can focus on the war if you like Star Wars. I'm not going to tell you what to talk about. If you want to discuss some politics, hey, but remember who you're talking to, all right? A decorated combat vet myself. So if you want to get into politics, I don't care. It's your dime, not mine. Yeah. So a lot to get into tonight. Also, tonight we'll be doing our day in Philadelphia sports history, and that's it, because we got a twofer. We're going to transition at some point when the game ends up in Toronto. We're going to transition to the Clear the Ice program and bring you some of the and some of that Flyers post game stuff. So no card review tonight. And no of the night tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow to do all that. So let's give you a schedule update before we get rolling. This is what's happening on the network this week. The Pittsburgh Sports Tonight program did not happen at the last minute. John Phillips could not do it, but he'll be back tomorrow and on Wednesday. I will be with you tomorrow, and I will be with you Wednesday, and I will be with you Thursday. because you're going to have to kind of let that sink in, because I probably won't see you again after Thursday until, I don't know, maybe Wednesday, as I got to get back at it next week. So we're going to have to make these shows last together this week, because we're going to get back to another dark period next week. Well, I'll only be able to do maybe 2 shows, but I'm trying to do what I can. But that's how I'm going to break down this week and next week. Tomorrow, you're going to have the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, as mentioned, and me. On Wednesday, you got the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, and me. On the Thursday at 9 p.m., it's me, and then Flyers Mammoth postgame. Nothing on Friday. The Philly Friday Frenzy with Big Al will not be seen this week, as Al has a personal obligation to attend to. On Saturday, we're going to welcome the Gridiron Weekly Report to its new date and time. Starting this Saturday morning at 9 a.m., the Gridiron Weekly will be seen going forward. Following the Gridiron Weekly, we will go into our best of the week of the It's a Wrap Sports. And then sometime Saturday evening around 8:30-ish, we'll do some post-game Flyers and Penguins. So a busy day on the network on Saturday. And we'll turn it all over on Sunday. Again, 9 a.m., the Philly AM Sports Show, but not me. I will not be broadcasting this Sunday. So there you go on our week in a nutshell here on the network. Andrew Painter had 2 good innings yesterday. Yeah, I watched that game in the car driving back from where was I coming back from? Tennessee. And yes, I did watch that game. He looked pretty good. I know there's a lot of expectations and hope being placed on Andrew Painter. Is it misguided hope? Is it misguided expectations? Are we putting too much on him? I don't know if we're putting too much on him. I think the better question is, are the Phillies putting too much on Andrew Painter coming hot out the gate because of the situation with the rotation? And that not only is it time to see Andrew Painter, and in a normal circumstance, obviously he would work his way into the rotation time now, but because of and I don't want to say thin Phillies rotation. It's not thin in my opinion, but it's thinning. It is thinning. Are we putting too much, or are the Phillies putting too much on the plate of Andrew Painter coming off of Tommy John surgery as a young pitcher? Now, he should be sunk pretty deep in that rotation, 4 or 5 potentially. So that might help him. But, hey, the bottom line is he's a former first-round draft pick, and it's time to see what he can do. But he looked good on Sunday against the Yankees, and we'll see how he does the rest of the summer or spring. Again, right now, honestly, all I care about is him coming out of these outings not feeling any discomfort or pain. I'll worry about the other stuff later on. I'll worry about how he reacts in game as he moves through his paces as a starter in this league. He's going to have his ups. He's going to have his downs as he gets going, unless he's Paul Skeens reincarnated, which I won't be upset about that, but he's not. But he's going to go through his paces, and we got to be patient with him. And that's just the way it is. So, but yes, the dawn of the Andrew Painter era is upon us. And that's a good thing, I think. What's going on, Dave? How are you today? Good to see you here on the show. And Sawyer says, go USA. Yeah, that is the big story in town, in my opinion. World Baseball Classic is about to get going on the heels of what happened in the Olympics just a week ago. And Team USA will have a tune-up tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time out there in Arizona. They're going to be playing in the Arizona pool. So they're going to have a tune-up in Arizona against the San Francisco Giants. 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Be there or be square. Have an opportunity to see a loaded Team USA roster. Get the opportunity off the bat. And I guess they also reported that Skubal will pitch at least 2 or 3 innings against Great Britain. I think that's who they start against on the 7th. So that's pretty good. As we're going to go right off the bat with one of our aces. I don't know. Is this a situation, and no offense to the people of Great Britain and their baseball program, but do you hold back the cannons for a little bit later on in the pool, in the tournament? I know you want to set it up to where you have the Skeens and the Skubals available in that semifinals, finals area, but I get it and all, but I wouldn't be upset if I didn't see one of those two pitching on game 1, honestly. And if they're only going to pitch a couple, 3, 4 innings, do you got to give them 5 full days off before they go again? But we'll see it. It's all going to be fun anyway. I cannot wait to do it. Cannot wait to see it. Some Iranian people are celebrating it. Iranian? Is that what you mean? Is it Iranian people or is it Iranian people? I don't know who Iranian people are, but if they're Iranian people, let them celebrate, man. Their voices have been silenced far too long. Let them celebrate. They got 46 some odd years of frustration to get out. Let them party in the streets like it's 1999. All right, that's all I got to say about that. And good for them. God bless them. Joe Hale's checking in. Joe, what is up, my friend? Good to see you back here again. MattyB has returned for a twofer tonight. The final word, and also some clear the ices. I have stepped away from the mic far too long. 8 days. I don't know if I've ever gone 8 days without doing a show before, but duty called. I left here on Tuesday, got to where I had to be Tuesday night, had games Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, got on the road Saturday evening, stopped halfway between here and home, or there and home, and then got back on the road Sunday morning and finished up my trip late yesterday afternoon. Just did not have the time to work in a show. I think it was something crazy like 10 games over 3 days I did. And to be honest with you, the college stuff that I did earlier in the week was okay. Nothing to write home about. It was some good early season reps for me. But what really the metal met the road over the weekend, when unbeknownst to me, and I know Perfect Game is what Perfect Game is. They're an elite youth baseball like funneling system for young talent, the best talent. Let's face it, the best young amateur players in this country, high school mainly. And I had the opportunity on Friday night, or no, Friday during the day, to start right off the hop with some great pitching. I did 8 games for them over the weekend, and in every single 8 of those games, I don't know how many pitchers I saw, but nobody threw the ball under 80 miles an hour. And even that was their breaking stuff that was in the 80s. I'm watching kids throw 85 mile an hour curveballs, 17-year-olds. I'm watching 17-year-olds throw 98 mile an hour fastballs. Buttload of MLB scouts all over the place. I had the opportunity on the main field at the Hoover Met Complex in Alabama, where they actually hold the SEC championship game, the tournament there every spring. I've worked on that field before. To work a lot of these games, and one of the 2 highlights was I did a game that featured Joseph Contreras, 17-year-old son of former Major League pitcher Jose Contreras, who actually serves as a pitching coach on that team that his son pitches for. Now, Joseph is a Vanderbilt commit. He's also projected to go within the top 3 rounds of this year's draft. And on top of that, at 17, he has been selected to represent Team Brazil in the World Baseball Classic. They are sending a 17-year-old kid to join Team Brazil in this baseball tournament to see how he does against the best competition in the world. The kid was impressive, 92 pitches, 7 innings. The game I worked that he pitched, it was a great game. It was 1-1 heading into the 7th inning, or it was 1-0 heading into the 7th inning. The home team tied it in the bottom of the 7th, forcing extra innings. We went 10, and the game was settled on a walk-off single with a runner on second, a walk-off play at the plate to end that thing in 10 innings. That was a really fun game to be part of. I don't like free baseball, though. I don't like working 3 innings for free, but I'll do it for that type of talent. There was another pitcher I saw at one of these games that was slotted as the pitcher DH. He threw about 4 or 5 innings, throwing upwards around 96. But he was straight power. He didn't have many. He didn't have any other pitches that I saw. He was just rearing back and throwing hard. But he also was their DH, so he had himself a day at the plate. 3 for 3, a double off the fence at around 390 feet, a 410-foot home run to dead center, and he also had a line drive single. So I had the eye, and again, scouts all over this kid too. I had a great time watching these guys play. If you go to my actual, I don't know if I put it on the Instagram, but yeah, the games that I'm talking about are on the Perfect Game USA Facebook page. They're on the Twitter feed. It is the games from Saturday, this past Saturday. So I am literally in all three of those games. Two of those games I'm behind the plate, and the last one I'm on the bases. So you'll be able to see me. You'll be able to see me in action if you've never watched me umpire before. It was really fun experience, and weather down in Alabama was stellar, 85 both Friday and Saturday, and sunny. I thought it was July actually, but it was a great opportunity, and I really enjoyed my time there. I'll be back in the college seat next week with some games in Virginia and in Kentucky. So gonna keep having some fun, keep doing what you got to do to make the money. But yeah, had some really fun with that. Joe Hal's asking me what the schedule for the rest of the week. I just went over that, Joe, not too long ago. It's up on our webpage. It's up on our Facebook and our Twitter. Revert to that if you must. I just went over that not too long ago. Joe Giglio wants the Eagles to use a 23rd overall pick to trade for Raiders. Hey, listen, Joe Giglio's late to the party on that, Star Wars. I wanted them to trade. I wanted to pull off. I proposed a trade earlier in the offseason to send Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown for Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, and the Raiders' #1 overall pick in this year's draft. That's the trade I want to see. That would be a franchise-altering trade for both the Eagles and the Raiders. If you're going to go big. But yeah, I did see that he said that he thought they could pull that off. I don't know if the Raiders would budge off of Crosby for their 23rd overall. They maybe would want a draft pick of one of the Eagles or another player filled in there, but we'll see there. But I would not be against Max Crosby coming to Philadelphia. Not at all. Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber have the 4th best odds to win MVP of WBC. I don't care about that. I don't. I don't care about MVPs. I care about a gold medal. I care about following up what Team USA hockey did, both on the women's and men's side. I care about following that up with a gold medal. You know, what the hockey team did, or the hockey teams did, was absolutely thrilling. Now, it won't be the same reaction if the baseball team does it. I know that. You know that. That's okay. But they need to follow it up, man. We need to take advantage of this. We have the momentum. And if you think that the baseball boys weren't watching those gold medal games in hockey, not thinking, you know what, we now have the opportunity to do that ourselves, you're fooling yourselves. I think they definitely feel that they have that opportunity now. And I don't care about MVPs. I don't care about whatever Cy Young Award, if they give out any of that. I don't care about any of that stuff. I want a gold medal or a gold trophy, whatever they give. The gold cup, I guess, of the World Baseball Classic. I don't care about MVPs. We have 3 players on Team USA. We have 3? Harper, Schwarber, and who's the 3rd? Who am I missing? Who is the 3rd? I got Harper. I got Schwarber. It ain't Turner. It ain't Real Muto. Who am I missing? Oh, Keller, right? Isn't Brad Keller? Yeah, Brad Keller. There you go. It was Brad Keller. Yep, so we have 3 players on Team USA. And we got 1 player on Team Italy. Arinola. He's pitching for Team Italy. Don't forget that. But, yeah, I can't wait. Saturday, or the 5th, it starts. Team USA's first game is on the 7th. So let's get it rolling here with our day in Philadelphia sports history. We're back to doing that. And this is a big one. This is a big one. This is a Bigfoot unicorn moment that people say it happened. Some people say it didn't happen. I wasn't around for it, but I definitely followed the hype growing up, as a lot of other people did. But on this day back in 1962, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain for the Philadelphia Warriors did the unthinkable and scored 100 points in a single game in a 169-147 win over the Knicks. His 100th point of that game came on a slam dunk. And you know, his 79th point was scored with about 8 minutes or so to go in the game. But the thing that makes this moment so stellar is the game wasn't videotaped. It wasn't videotaped. And there's eyewitnesses that say they were there and saw it. And obviously the stat books say that it happened, but there's no footage of it because it wasn't videotaped, because it was 1962. And I guess it wasn't that important, but on this day, Wilt Chamberlain did the unthinkable, and it has not been done since. has scored 100 points in one game. If you believe that, I don't know what's, and I know there's people out there that don't believe it happened. I know there are people out there that believe it was all a propaganda, that maybe he scored 80, maybe he scored 75, 70, but not 100. People that can't wrap their head around that concept. And I understand. I mean, it's an achievement that has not been duplicated, probably never will be duplicated. But on this day back in 1962, it happened. Wilt Chamberlain scores 100 points against the Knicks. Game was played in Hershey. And there you go. There's your day in Philadelphia sports history, brought to you by the good folks here at the network, creators of such programming as the Gridiron Weekly Football Show. Moving to its new day and time, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. starting this Saturday. Be there or be square as the Gridiron Weekly makes the move to Saturday mornings, and is going to start a new legacy down there on the Saturday mornings, kind of just helping us out a little bit. Well, actually, it was their decision. I didn't have nothing to do with it. They asked if they could move, and I said absolutely. So we made it happen. So Saturday mornings at 9, the Gridiron Weekly will be seen from this point forward. And on this show, we're getting to this point. We've been coming on at 9 since about Halloween-ish, about October timeframe, right around the time the Phillies got eliminated from the postseason. We went to our 9 o'clock winter hours. Well, those hours are changing because we're coming out of our winter programming here on the network. Matter of fact, before the month is out, this show will be back on this time. We'll be moving back to our 10 o'clock normal hour, starting probably around March 22nd. Is kind of what I'm looking at, moving the show back to 10 p.m. For the duration of the summer and into the fall as we get ready for Phillies baseball and the Fightins final, as it'll make its return for its 5th season on the air. And we will, of course, kick off the Fightins final, or kick off the Phillies season every year here, as we do on the final with our preview show, to be seen somewhere around that March 22nd timeframe. So more to follow on that as we begin to build the concept for that. But we will be moving the final word back to 10 p.m. sometime at the end of March. And that's where we will stay until next fall, when we'll come back to 9 for the winter. So, again, some programming, some scheduling things, some things shifting around a little bit as we get ready to transition from the quiet time back to the busy time here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. So make sure that you're standing by for all that greatness, and let's get it going. I guess let's talk some Phillies baseball. I mean, and we can talk WBC at the same time. Big story on Sunday was, of course, the debut of Andrew Painter. Got the fastball up to 97, and also I guess a little side story about what happened on Sunday was that Zach Wheeler threw a bullpen, and he felt really good, reportedly, and that's a story that's kind of slid under the radar a bit under the Andrew Painter stuff. But is Zach Wheeler scheduled? He's not scheduled to be part of the opening day rotation, and I wouldn't expect him to be. But does he come back maybe a little bit sooner than that late May timeframe that's been sort of reported since the end of last season, if things continue to trend in this direction? And I honestly believe that as we get closer to this, the Zach Wheeler thing may answer itself based on how the team does out the gate. If the Phillies are not struggling pitching, if the pitching is holding its own, that may go a long way into how they handle the return of Zach Wheeler. Because I've said this all along the way. If we could actually make it through till about July without Zach Wheeler and get him back 100% with a live arm in July, that's when I'd want Zach Wheeler. So if we can hold things together, and I know there's going to be a lot of clamoring, especially if they get off to a slow start, especially if they're getting hit around, the pitching is. And rightfully so, there should be some concern if that does happen. But if they don't, if their pitching is not the problem, which I don't suspect it will be even without Wheeler, but if they're able to hold their own on the mound, and again, I'm not saying win or lose because that's going to come down to the freaking offense again, but if their pitching continues to hold their own, I say you hold Zach Wheeler out until you need him. And that would be around that trade deadline time. And if you could bring in a fresh 100% Zach Wheeler whose arm is alive and rested and ready to go for a playoff push, that would, in my opinion, be the best case scenario that you could hope for in the return of Zach Wheeler. Now, that's going to be dictated, of course, by how the Phillies do. But I don't have a Zach Wheeler clock on the wall tracking the days, the minutes, the hours, the seconds, and when he returns. I want him to be out as long as he needs to be out. And if the pitching holds, that could be forever, and I'd be okay with that. What do I think the Flyers do at the trade deadline? That is Friday as well, coming up, the NHL trade deadline. We'll get into that a little bit later on, Joe. That's a great question, and I will get into that in a little bit. This week we lose. Oh, we're already doing that? We're springing ahead already? Was that Saturday? God damn. Sanchez is the opening day starter. Yeah, more than likely he will be. But yeah, the Phillies, what are they, 3-6 so far through spring? Been a little bit of a hodgepodge of stuff. Abe Miller hasn't really played at all, dealing with a sore back. Yohan Rojas, kicked off of whatever was he playing for? Was he playing for the DR or Brazil or Venezuela? Kicked off of his WBC team for failing a drug test. And it was apparently THC that he failed. So I don't know what happens to him. I don't know what MLB's I don't really care. Honestly, I didn't research it. I don't really care what happens to Yohan Rojas. If he's suspended for 80 games or whatever, I guess this is his first offense, so it'd be 50 games. Whatever. I don't think he's going to see the light of day up here anyway. But I think it's kind of funny and comical that he gets kicked off the WBC team for testing positive for THC in his system. But not really a story that I'm keeping much really close eye on. Yohan Rojas is dead to me. He's been dead to me for years. So I didn't figure him in any part of the Phillies' plans at all in 2026. But yeah, that's an interesting story going on. The 16 players that are participating in the World Baseball Classic are no longer with the Phillies as they've moved off to do that thing for a little bit. And Flyers, there it is. Flyers have won the game 3-2 in overtime. So here we go. Third straight win in a row for the Flyers as they're making that little late season push here. Going to make things difficult on Danny B at the trade deadline, maybe. 3-2 winners tonight against the Maple Leafs in overtime. We will be doing some clear the ice a little bit later on as we'll get deep into the Flyers then. So congratulations to the Flyers. 3 in a row now as they're on their road to victory, I guess. Did I miss something? No, Al will not be on this Friday. He will be back next Friday. He's got something he's got to do. So there will be no Al this coming Friday, but he'll return the following Friday. So you did not really miss anything, Joe. A little personal thing he's got to handle. You know, I'm not a slave driver around here. We let our people take their time and do things they got to do to be ready. So no Al this Friday as he's got to deal with some personal issues. But yeah, so the Phillies, is there anybody out there that's impressed you so far? I know Bryson Stott's had a really good offensive spring. It's funny because I've seen this so many years play out in all different sides. I've seen players. I mean, we can talk Scott Kingery, light the world on fire in spring training. And then as soon as the real games mattered, he just didn't have it. I saw players, what was it? Derek Hall a couple of years ago was knocking the cover off the ball. Mickey Moniak has shown signs of fire during the spring, but none of that ever translated over. Trey Turner, the year in 2023 with the WBC hitting all those home runs, came out and had that dreadful 3/4 of the season that year. I've seen it so many times that I don't get too up or too down on players when they come out and play in spring. I don't take anything worth its salt, especially for a team like the Phillies who don't really have many or any roster spots that are open right now. I mean, we already know what this. I know they're trying to tell you that Crawford's got to earn his spot. They're telling you Painter's got to earn his spot. No, they don't. We know the real truth. There's no way those two players are not part of this team. But those were only the 2 roster spots that I saw, that were up for grabs this spring. And so that's not much of a battle for me. So whatever's happening in spring training is fine, positively or negatively, just as long as they come back north healthy. and ready to go on March 26th against Texas. I don't really care personally what the struggles of players are in the spring. I really don't. And if you want to really kind of get in the weeds about it, there's no way you're going to tell me in the games that start off the first week of spring training into like mid-March, and there's no gauge there. If you got to put a gauge on a player, maybe those last 2 weeks when those players are going to see major league competition, because all the camp guys will head back to their minor league camps by then, and it'll be pretty much just the majors guys. Maybe you can put a little bit of a barometer on spring training then, but as far as I'm concerned right now, I don't really care about that. Justin Crawford going to start a center. I just kind of went on a little rant about that. Is there a world where you see he won't? Now that Johan Rojas is, what else? What are options that we had? Was there ever any doubt that he was going to? Again, I get it. They can't tell you up front. Yeah, he's got the job when he hasn't done anything, but was there really any doubt that he wasn't going to make the team and start center field based on who they brought in the camp, based on who's on this team right now? I mean, they eliminated all of his competition, not bringing back Bader, right? Not going after another bona fide outfielder. They pretty much told you what they want to do with Justin Crawford without him even taking the field. So, 100% he's going to start the center this year. I don't think there's any doubt of that. I don't think there was any doubt of that going into the offseason. I don't think there was any doubt of that here in spring training. Now, the only thing that could derail that is an injury, right? We don't want to see that. But no, I don't think there's any scenario where he doesn't start center if he stays healthy through spring. Absolutely no scenario. He impressed us. Huh? I only saw him play one game. Phone lines will be open today. Yes, I will open the phone lines in a little bit. And Ricky, is back in the hospital. Well, please, Joe, pass on our best here again, as Ricky is apparently back in the hospital. Not good to hear. And please let Ricky know that sorry that I'm passing on my best. But yeah. So there's the spring train. There's MattyB's spring training breakdown. I don't care. I don't. I'm just happy to watch baseball. I'm just happy to look at somewhere else in the world where there's no snow on the ground. I'm just, again, my value of spring training baseball is purely aesthetics, right? It's purely the what it represents, not necessarily what's happening on the field. We made a big deal on this show leading up to the start of baseball, right? We talked about the Caribbean Series in January that featured the winners of all the Latin American Winter League teams or leagues. Then we talked right into the start of college baseball. And now we got to the start of spring training. I mean, it was all aesthetics for me. I'm not really, especially on the MLB side, I'm not looking at anything that happens in spring and taking anything that happens in spring with a grain of salt, other than, of course, people not getting hurt. I don't want to see that. But other than that, it's all about aesthetics to me. And where I was this weekend was almost, Florida-esque. I was in like Central Alabama and it was 80 degrees. So I definitely felt the vibe myself. So the phone lines are open. So you guys know the drill. Hop on in if you want to mix it up with me in person. I see that Justin, he's gotten a couple hits. He's got blazing speed, made a couple nice defensive plays. Haven't seen much of them. Then again, I haven't really watched a Phillies game in a while, and they were off today. I didn't have time. I watched yesterday's game because I was stuck in the car all day. But other than that, I really haven't had an opportunity to sit down and watch much Phillies baseball. I've watched some stuff here and there, but really haven't had an opportunity to get deep into some games. And again, spring training. It's aesthetics. Let's go to the phones. Joe Hale, how you doing, man?
Not good. Your buddy's back in the hospital.
Again,
I'll share. He has pneumonia. Yes, I'll tell him you said hi.
Thank you.
He has the pneumonia, and I have the flu. So, but I just got cleared, but I'm not coming back to work.
Well, you had pneumonia too?
Impressive. No, I have the flu.
What are you guys doing, man? Listen, Joe, it's not January. Joe, Baseball is around the corner. The time to get sick is over, man. It's time to open up the windows. It's time to put on the shorts. No, I know it's cold. It's about 30 degrees where I'm at right now. I agree. It sucks, man. This winter has been tough. It just won't let up, man.
You're right. I'm going to talk Phillies. Raconis, the shortstop, has been impressing me. I believe it's Raconis.
Brian Raconis? Yes, he has impressed. Yep.
And the other one in center field, not Crawford. The other one that they got, De La Cruz, looks good.
Yep, Brian De La Cruz. They brought him in on a minor league deal. I don't think, Joe, honestly, I think he was brought in as a veteran for an injury. He's going to Lehigh Valley. He could bat 1,000 and hit 25 home runs and drive in 60 runs in spring training. He's not going to make the Phillies. They're going to send him to Lehigh because he's on a minor league deal. He didn't sign a major league two-way deal. He signed a minor league deal. So they're going to send him to Lehigh. But he's there if they need him.
Yes. When is Crawford's number going to change?
When's he going to get his actual non-camp number?
Yeah.
Probably opening day.
Because he's wearing 79. My buddy Scott was at the game yesterday in Clearwater. He met Painter afterwards because Painter stuck around the side autographs, and he went up and asked him if he was ready, and Painter said, "Give me 3 more starts for spring training." I like that from him.
Yeah, I like that too. Now, Painter's wearing 76, but he's worn 76, as I was not mistaken. He wore it all the way through the minors last year. I wonder if he keeps it. I wonder if he keeps 76.
Yeah. Do you want to know why he wears it? Where is it? I can tell you. His dad.
Why does he wear it?
His dad played high school baseball. Was a catcher,
in 1976.
A backup catcher.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That's why he wears it.
Okay.
Eagles talk. Everybody's speculating about AJ Brown. I don't think he's getting dealt because Howie, they want too much money. They want too much.
Joe, hang on. I'm going to stop you there.
Yes.
I'm going to stop you there. I want you to listen to this. If AJ Brown is a Philadelphia Eagle on day 1 of 2026, on day 1, on week 1 of the 2026 NFL season, I will let you host this show by yourself for a week.
Okay. No, me and Kaepernick.
You and Kaepernick can host the final word for 1 week if he's an Eagle in week 1. AJ Brown is good. Good is gone, Joe. You know it deep down. Joe, you know deep down in your heart, AJ Brown's not coming back. You know.
I think he's going to come back. I don't see the Eagles. The Eagles haven't got the package yet.
But they're not going to get the package that every fan wants. No, they haven't gotten the package yet, and there is the money with the post June 1st. They may have to wait. They probably. I mean, I don't listen. Honestly, I know the post June 1st cap hit is a lot more pleasant or dealable, but Howie don't care. Howie's the master allegedly of kicking money down the curb, and he is. He does it all the time. He will be dealt on. This is not a bet, but I think he'll be dealt on draft day. Honestly, will be dealt on draft day.
I think after draft day. Training camp.
Draft day. He will be dealt on the first day of the NFL draft.
Speaking of that, we just had a major trade today of the NFL draft. The Texans got
I heard that.
Singletary
from Cleveland,
not Gibbs. Montgomery
from Cleveland, right?
No, from Houston, from the Lions to Houston.
Oh, I guess I missed that one. Okay.
Yeah. Eagles signed former Houston Texans offensive coordinator today.
Yep. Eagles brought in to be their new the new quarterbacks coach? Gerard Johnson. What's he going to do?
Quality assistant coach. Quality assistant coach.
Okay.
Apparently.
Now, isn't
because
okay?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
They have. I believe.
I didn't hear you, Joe. What'd you say?
They already have a quarterback coach. The Eagles do.
Oh, isn't it that guy? Yeah, they brought it. It's what's his name? The guy that was didn't they keep the same guy?
No, he. Yeah,
like Laughing Miller or something like that. His name is.
No, it's the former one that came back.
All right, let's look it up. Who is no, I want to know who this guy is.
Okay.
Eagles QB coach. Well, listen, I'm looking at this, and it's saying Gerard Johnson.
Oh, because they were saying that he was the former offensive coordinator in Jacksonville. That the Eagles brought back, one of the coaches.
Well, no, that was the guy they brought in to be. He was brought in to be the. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He was the. What the hell was he brought in to do? Oh,
I don't know.
No. Now you got to look it up.
It has so much.
All right. This is probably the old one. All right, here we go. Josh Gizzard. He's the pass game coordinator. He was the guy from Jacksonville. Josh Gizzard, right?
Something about Press. Yes.
Yeah. No.
I heard something about Press Talent.
Yeah, I did too, but not to the Eagles. He's not coming to the Eagles.
Oh. Okay.
But
then WIP. Yes, Joe Julio. I'm calling you out.
Listen, I think that I don't think the Raiders would bite for the 23rd overall pick for Crosby. I don't. I think that's a ridiculous trade. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be interested in bringing Max Crosby here, but I don't think the Raiders are going to let him go for the 23rd overall pick. But the trade I proposed, Hurts, Brown for Bowers, Crosby, and the Raiders' #1 pick, I think they do that.
I heard take AJ Brown off of there, right? You give Jalen Hurts the Eagles pick and the second pick in the this year's draft for the
yeah. But if we trade AJ, you get off his salary. So you can pick up some potential free agents yourself. So I would do that, honestly. Listen, I know you're trying to find a way to keep him. I want him gone, man. I don't want another year of AJ Brown. Bring me in another Devontae Smith. If we had wide receivers that fit the Devontae Smith mold, I would take that all day long over an AJ Brown. All day long.
Would you bring back Zach Ertz?
As a backup, yes. But he can't be the primary.
Because you're going to lose Goddard.
Yeah, but he can't be the primary. They got to figure out the tight end. Yeah, I do.
Draft that Oregon tight end.
That's who I want them to take in the first pick. I know a lot of people are crying for offensive linemen and all that, but they got to start replacing some of the weapons, man. This team is starting to lose weapons. And I understand you got to build out from the trenches, but Lane Johnson will be back for at least one more year. Landon Dickerson will be back for at least one more year. I mean, the offensive line is going to be what they are. I don't know if that's good or bad, but at least they're familiar people. And if the Eagles have more weapons, it gives Jalen an opportunity maybe not to throw the goddamn football in a timely manner. So you do draft Lane Johnson's replacement. You do draft some insurance for Landon Dickerson, but That could be done in the later rounds. You got to get some weapons. You got to get. They're going to have to pick another wide receiver at some point in this draft too, because we only have 2 as of right now. They need another wide receiver, a viable one, or they got to go out and sign one in free agency.
Apparently, Romeo Dobbs is being speculated coming here.
Yeah, but so is Kyle Pitts, and I don't want Kyle Pitts. Romeo Dobbs, I don't know about that, man. Isn't he too old?
Kyle Pitts is just got franchise tagged from Atlanta.
Oh, did they franchise him? Huh. There you go. Good.
Yep.
I don't want him anyway. Yeah, we need to draft another tight end. We screwed that up, man. We went from being a team that traditionally always brought in the replacement while the primary was still good, and then we were able to kind of work that person in over a period of about 2 seasons. How we screwed that up, man. We went from that to like we need help right now, and we don't even have the opportunity to work somebody in and learn for a year being a backup or being the third down guy or whatever. We don't have that luxury this year. Whoever they bring in is going to have to be a day one contributor. And I don't know if that's fair to that guy.
That's why you go draft the Eagles, the young stud tight end, and put him with Zach Ertz for a year.
Yeah, and that might be the option. Maybe not a Zach Ertz per se, but a veteran type guy that can, not only give you quality reps, but also teach the young kid how to play. Yeah, I agree.
Would you try to offer Goddard a deal and then get something if he signs with another team? A comp pick? Here's
the thing too, Joe. There is the franchise tag that the Eagles never use. Why not use it on Goddard for 1 year?
Okay.
Draft his replacement and sign Goddard and franchise him for 1 year.
I also think the Eagles go get another kicker. I'm tired of sticking Elliott missing field goals and extra points.
So, are they going to take a kicker at 23 overall? Are they going to pull a what was it from the Raiders that took number 1?
They're going to sign a free agent kicker.
You don't think they're going to take one with their 23rd overall pick?
No.
Yeah, I think they signed a new kicker too, or they bring in about 5 of them, and they have an open battle all camp long.
Okay, that's it.
All right.
Yep.
Anything else, Joe?
Flyers. Trade speculations are heating up. They're talking to Boston. Would you do it for Tippett?
I know Tippett's name is part of it. So I know they've won 3 in a row, and I know they're playing with a rejuvenated amount of confidence right now, and I know it's looking good. And I know that, and I've been the first one to say that they can't go 6 years without making the playoffs, and I stand by that. I know that I've said that, but Joe, I'm not set on this core group of players. I don't think building assets to this team is the right thing to do. I think there's still more work to be done about getting rid of players. I think they should sell and move Tippett, yes, but I want assets. They only have like 5 draft picks coming up, and I need more of those. I need more draft picks. So no, I would trade Tippett. Everybody's on the board for me to trade, but I'm not bringing in anybody. I want to be a seller.
So, with the Trotter pick, what is that? Is that protected or no?
What the Trotter pick? What are you talking about?
The Toronto pick that they got for Scotty Lawton last year.
So the Eagles the Flyers.
They get a first round pick.
Hang on now. The Flyers have their own first round pick, their own second round pick, and their own third. They do not have a 4th or 5th. They have their own 6th. They have Columbus's 6th, and they have their own 7th. The Scott Lawton trade doesn't kick in until 2027. That's when they get Toronto's first.
Would you
a top 10 protected?
Would you trade that? Would you trade that pick?
Yeah, but I mean, you'll have 2 first round picks in 2027. So I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I They have 8 picks coming up in 2027. I don't know if I do that. If I'm telling you to sell, then I'm telling you no, I'm not going to trade away any assets because I need those draft
And then
assets. So yeah.
talk about us getting the NHL draft.
About Philadelphia getting it?
Yep, there's talk about that.
Yeah, it would fit into the
Not
whole
next
20
year, but the year.
No, it should be this year because it's the 250th birthday.
I'm not sure about that with the NHL. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, well, they don't announce it until later on. They
awesome.
keep that a secret. But,
I got you.
All right, Joe. We'll talk tomorrow, man. All right? All right, Joe Hale. His internet always craps out there at the end. Sawyer says, I see that Justin got a couple. Yeah, he's got a few hits, yeah. Oh, what's going on, MP? Crawford has got 5 hits so far, 15 at bats leads the Phillies. I thought it was Stott that was ripping it apart. Again, I haven't sat down and I've been watching from afar, MP. Listen, I'll go back to what I said at the top. Do I take what happens in spring to heart? No, I don't. Because I've been fooled too many times by this great spring seasons of these players. And then, I see it blow up in their faces in the regular season. Am I saying Crawford is that guy? No, but let's get to when the games count. Again, going back to the whole thing with Crawford about having to actually earn a spot on this team. I never thought that's true. I didn't, honestly did not. I think that his spot in this team was pretty much guaranteed by the way the Phillies went about their offseason. Let's be honest. The Phillies already told us what they were doing with Justin Crawford before they even got to Clearwater. So I wasn't looking at this spring as a make it break it season for him. I didn't think he had to go out and press that much. Now, granted, if he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, there'd be some concern. But I think that Justin Crawford is already earmarked to be the starting center fielder of this baseball team. And rightfully so. He deserves that opportunity as a former first overall pick, just like Andrew Painter. We've been talking about these two guys for years. Now it's time to put up or shut up, regardless, in my opinion, what they did in the spring. And because that's really when it matters is when March 26th rolls around against the Rangers. And again, barring extreme circumstances, if Painter could not throw the ball over 40 miles an hour and if Crawford couldn't hit, his weight, I get it. That's different situations. But barring something like that, I'm just not looking at anything with that grain of salt because Bryson Stott is also tearing it apart in spring training. Unfortunately, I'm not putting betting the mortgage on Bryson Stott coming out of spring, as a 400 hitter to start the season. And I hope as we get closer to the start of the regular season, we can get this the clarity of this lineup a little bit more. And Bryson Stott does not find his way anywhere near the top of that lineup, and he's batting down there at 8 or 7. And maybe they give some protection to Justin Crawford, who more than likely will start off in the 9 hole. But no, I don't overreact or underreact to. Well, I guess I don't overreact to anything that occurs in spring training. That's just how I was raised. Don't blame me. But some good stuff that Joe Hale brought up about the Eagles. Yeah, again, I said at the top of the show that I don't really. I've turned the Eagles side of my brain off. I don't care. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'll talk about it, of course. And if it's a point you guys want to bring up, we'll talk Eagles all night long. But it's not something that is like burning my biscuits right now. I could care one iota less of what's happening with the Philadelphia Eagles. We are literally weeks now away from the start of the 2026 season for the Phillies. We are days away from the start of the World Baseball Classic. We are not deep. We're into the college baseball season. And we are actually, if you're really that much of a baseball nut, we're about 3 weeks away from the start of the high school baseball season. So it's all about baseball for me. And of course, my profession is in baseball. So I am pretty much intertwined right now in everything baseball related. But I will talk Eagles. And yes, there are some the rumors between A.J. Brown, the rumors with friggin' Max Crosby, Eagles fans, and I'm asking you this from the bottom of my heart, and we'll talk about this. Is there people that actually want A.J. Brown here? I mean, honestly, are there people that actually want AJ Brown here? And why, if AJ Brown is a captain, why he was a captain, he's been a captain on this team, but his GM, his coach, can't go out and say that AJ Brown will be part 100% of the Philadelphia Eagles. This guy's a captain, right? He's one of the best players on the team. He's one of the studs of the football team. But you can't get I don't want to hear about trades. I don't want to hear about that crap. He's our guy. That tells you everything you need to know. Of course he's going to be dealt. Now, is there a process there that how he holds out for the best possible deal? I would say yeah. But then again, I'm going to say no. I think we're entering a little bit of Dave Dombrowski territory here with Howie Roseman. And that's what he's doing right now. I think he's tipping his hand. And, if I was going to trade AJ Brown, I would never say that I'm not committed to saying he's going to be part of this football team. Of course, I'd say, yes, there's going to be no offer that can sway me to make a move to get rid of AJ Brown. So I don't care. And then I just sit back and wait for the offers to come in. But the fact that he said, without saying it, that he's not committing to AJ Brown returning to the team tells me everything I need to know about AJ Brown's future. And more importantly, it tells me everything I need to know about how the NFL is looking at AJ Brown's future here in Philadelphia. So I don't think the max offer that people in their heads, because we get a problem in this town, we overvalue everything of our players. Don't forget, AJ Brown comes with a bunch of friggin' baggage. A bunch of baggage. He is a player that every team would probably want, but only a couple teams really could afford to deal with. I don't think he's long-term for anybody. I think his shelf life is about 2 years. And he's got to go to a team that's on the fringe of winning a Super Bowl, because he's not going to fit in well with a team that's not in contention. He's not going to fit in well with a team that's, a burgeoning playoff contender. He needs to go to a team that's got about a 1 or 2 year window to win a Super Bowl, because after that, he's going to be pulling the same crap there that he pulled here. That's what's going to happen to him. So there's a select number of those teams right now that are out there. And just to name a few: Denver, New England, you throw Kansas City, Buffalo. These are the teams that AJ Brown would be the more likely candidate to go to because of the situation with the team. There's no decision that AJ Brown would want to be long-term. And no team, I think, is looking at AJ Brown as a long-term solution. That's why, I make this, the trade, that proposal of AJ going to the Raiders is something that I want, because I want that number 1 overall pick, because I want to draft Mendoza, and I also want Max Crosby. And I took Brock Bowers as a throw-in. That trade would completely remake the Eagles in one season. Completely remake them in 1 year. But I don't think legitimately the Raiders would take on AJ Brown, because they are about a bazillion years away from being an NFL Super Bowl contender. And AJ Brown's not going to last long on a Las Vegas Raiders. He's not going to last long on a Cleveland Browns, on a Jets, on a Titans, or a team like that. He needs to go to a team that is on the fringe of winning a Super Bowl or being a Super Bowl contender. And there's only a select few of those teams out there that are going to deal with AJ Brown, because they're going to be making a deal with the devil, and they know that. But it's for the good of winning, and it's not for the good of bringing AJ Brown into the fold to make him a permanent fixture of the franchise. It just doesn't work like that for a player like AJ Brown, and that's why it hasn't worked here. AJ Brown wants to have AJ Brown type stuff, and AJ Brown wants to be that kind of guy. Doesn't care really about the long-term success of the football team. He doesn't. So you got to maximize his value. Now, honestly, and I guess retrospect and hindsight, they should have dealt him right after the Super Bowl. They should have dealt him last offseason. They probably would have gotten more value out of him than they got out of. They'll get out of him this year, but I think there's 0% and 0.00 chance that AJ Brown's an Eagle in 2026. And I don't think the Eagles want to put themselves through that. And I don't think the Eagles care to do that anymore. It's kind of like a joke. It really is. So there's my 2 cents worth of the AJ Brown situation. Let's see how Bryce hits with Aaron Judge. Listen, You ain't kidding, man. And that's again, coming off of the Olympics, watching this hockey team, and that was the one thing. Obviously, I was excited, super excited they won, but part of me was super bummed that that it was over, because now I had to go back to watching Flyers hockey. Right? Same thing with this. I'm going to watch an offense that's going to feature some of these players. You're going to have a middle of that lineup that's going to feature Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge. Actually, where are they going to put Kyle Schwarber? There's no way he's leading off. Not with that type of lineup. No, there's just absolutely no. They're not going to put Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson down in the bottom part of the lineup and lead off. What's his face? Schwarber. Schwarber's going to be batting around 5 or 6. But that middle part of that lineup is going to be a hell of a navigational piece for opposing pitchers. And you're right. Having Bryce with Aaron Judge behind him is going to be an interesting watch. And tomorrow, MP, for those of you that care, I'll say it again. Team USA will battle the San Francisco Giants in a tune-up out there in Arizona at 3 p.m. on ESPN. So make sure that you're there to check that out. Not a chance in hell AJ is an Eagle next year. In fact, he's lost step, doesn't block, and is disgruntled. Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, and I right, but listen, in the right situation, he's still top 5 wide receiver in this league, even with those things. I don't necessarily know if he lost step. He's never blocked, so that was never really, in my opinion, in question. But I still think he's an elite level player. But it's the disgruntled stuff. It's that kind of nonsense. It's run its course here, and that's fine. And I'm not sitting here telling you that it's a failure from the Eagles. But that's what A.J. Brown is, and that's what he is, and that's fine. But teams got to know how to be smart about an A.J. Brown. You milk him for what he can give you, and when his shelf life expires, you got to move him on down the road, or you're going to get stuck in this situation that the Eagles are in, and they know that. And I think they've recognized that they're stuck. And I think A.J. Brown is a 100% guarantee to no longer be an Eagle. And if they bring him back, if the Eagles bring A.J. Brown back next year, it truly tells me that the Eagles are a dysfunctional franchise, because there's no justification to bring this guy back. Not what he caused, not the pain he caused this team. The Eagles are lucky to get a second rounder. I think so. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So would the Eagles be better off trading A.J. Brown for an actual player, a valid NFL player, than going after an asset if you can only get a second round pick for him? Because don't forget, again, they're not offloading him to the Cleveland Browns. So they're not going to be picking in the higher part of the second round. They're going to dump him off to the Patriots or the Bills down there at the bottom of any round. And is he worth that? Is that what they want? Or is it better off going after an actual established NFL player that can help this team out? Definitely. I thought he'd be a Patriot, but I'm leaning towards the Bills. I think it's there. It's one of those two. I honestly do. I think that both of those teams are licking their lips at an opportunity to give Drake May or Josh Allen, that guy. And I think Josh Allen would be the most to benefit from having an A.J. Brown. And Buffalo cannot, with all that Buffalo has at stake this year, opening up the new stadium, trying to once again, peel off that friggin', loser mentality or can't win the big game mentality, giving Josh Allen excuse after excuse for why he's not winning. They cannot go another year without bringing in at least one dynamic wide receiver. Not a also ran or another household name, but they need a field flipper. They need a guy that goes out there and can do things that A.J. Brown can do. There's just no way that the Bills can talk to their fan base, opening up a new stadium to that. So I agree. I'm leaning towards the Bills and Patriots as well. This is the only time we root for Judge. Man, say what you want about Aaron Judge, man. Would you trade Crawford, Miller, and Painter today for Aaron Judge? Would you make that move? Would you trade Crawford, Miller, and Painter today for Judge? Question of the night. Bills are down to the number 1 pick. Keon Coleman, maybe him in a third rounder. Yeah. Okay. Bills don't want the Pats to get AJ. And that's another issue, right? because one or the other is going to get screwed over in this deal. So it could be a bidding war, and that could suit Howie too. And I honestly believe, and I get the post June 1st and the cap hit, and I understand that, but if they can move him, I think they should. They are open, Peppernick. Go back up through the chat. You'll see it there somewhere. Phone lines are open, and they'll only be open for a few more minutes. I got to transition to clear the ice. So if you want to get in, Peppernick, get in now. MP says he would trade Miller, Crawford, and Painter and Harper for Judge. I wouldn't trade Harper for Judge. Again, a lineup that would feature Bryce Harper at 3, Judge at 4, and Schwarber at 5. Man, I don't care. Yeah, I listen, for a year, I'd be in for that. I'd be in for that. Man, that would be a nice lineup. Now you can stick Johan Rojas's high ass out in center field for all I care at that point. But yeah, I'd go for that. But it's the question of the night. Would you trade Miller, Crawford, Painter, and MP threw in Harper, but I'm not throwing Harper in. Miller, Crawford, and Painter, would you trade them right now for Aaron Judge? And I say that's a slam dunk yes. Mike Papernick says he'd trade Miller, Painter, and Rakonis and Harper. Who's FJI? Who the hell is FJI? My gut says Harper will be a Yankee at some point this year. He's not happy here. He's not happy here. No. I don't think he's gone now. No, he'll remain in 26 as a Philly. Yeah, there's too many things going on right now with the CBA. There's too much uncertainty about the future of baseball beyond this season. I think he'll stay here this year. And my dark horse candidate to where Harper will be dealt, because I do believe he'll be dealt with in the next 2 years. I do believe that at some point around the trade deadline of 27 or in the off season of the 27 into the 28 season, Harper does get dealt. And to me, it's slam dunk the Las Vegas A's. They will trade for him, and he will sign off on going back to Vegas, because I've said this on this program. I think we did a little segment about it a few weeks ago. I don't know. Do I still have the graphic up here? Oh, man, I don't think I have it anymore. Oh, is that it right there? Is that the A's? Is that? No, that's not them. I had a graphic up here kind of featuring that young athletic lineup. I believe the A's will make the playoffs this year. I think the A's are a wild card in the American League. I do. They got a young, super dynamic lineup. I mean, their pitching is a little bit wonky, and that's going to be what probably holds them back. But by 28, when they open up that stadium in Vegas, they are going to be a powerhouse in the American League West and probably in the American League. And I think Bryce Harper would be, the hometown boy, a seat filler, a face of the franchise, that guy that will have an opportunity, and he'll go right from right from this opportunity to that opportunity to compete for a World Series in the latter part of the 20s for the Oakland or for the Vegas A's. So I don't think it's the Yankees. I think it's the A's, and I think that would suit him fine. I think he'd be 100% down for that, because I really, you heard it here first, man. Keep an eye on the A's in 2026. Just keep an eye on them. I'm calling them right now as a wild card team in the American League. I think they get in the wild card, or they are competitive right up to the end. But yeah, I really like what they're doing in Vegas, or in Sacramento, I guess, with the A's. Sarvers won't trade Crawford. You're telling me you would not trade Crawford, Painter, and Aiden Miller for Aaron Judge? I don't know, Star Wars, man. I hear you about the and he puts it in right here. I hear you. We do need young players. I get it. And yes, that is a true statement. But you have an opportunity right now, to jump on the second best player in all of baseball in Aaron Judge, behind Ohtani. And he's not going anywhere. I mean, he's not dipping for a while. He has at least 5 more years of elite level play. When was the last time somebody told you Aaron Judge wasn't elite? But you have at least 5 years of Aaron Judge as Aaron Judge. 3 years. Let's be more real. Okay, 3. I'll give you 3 years. And I think I'm being too stringent on that. I'm telling you, I think it's 5 years of elite level play you have in him. That would mean 5 more years of potential World Series contention. There's no way you say no to that. No way. USA projects the lineup for Team USA. Okay, so he's MP did the work here and put the lineup up here. The projected starting lineup for Team USA is Bobby Witt Jr. leading off. Their DH and Schwarber at 2, Judge at 3, Bryce Harper at 4, Cal Riley at 5, Roman Anthony, Alex Bregman, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Bruce Turang. I don't like the bottom part of this lineup. I don't like Cal Riley behind Harper. I would move Anthony behind Harper, and then I put Bregman. Actually, I would move Crow Armstrong and then Bregman, and then Riley and Turang. Yeah, I don't. I'd actually might even tool around with putting Cal Riley batting 9th in that lineup, honestly. But that's a formidable group of people to go through. And if you're not jazzed up by this, if you don't get excited by seeing this, if you don't get excited by the ability to watch this over the next 2 weeks, then you don't got a soul, man. You don't got a soul, and you're not a sports fan, and you certainly aren't a baseball fan. If this lineup does not get you excited, and then you toss in the rotation, all right, of the Skeens Scooble stuff. I mean, come on, man. Come on. I would move Schwarber back some so we can put more runs in. In this lineup right here, I'm okay with Schwarber batting second. I'm 100% okay with that. 100%. Because you're not putting Judge at 2. You're not putting maybe you flip-flop Harper and Schwarber. Maybe. Right? Yeah, maybe you flip-flop them. I don't know. I'm okay with this. Or maybe I'm okay with this. This is one of those rare situations there, Star Wars. And I'm sorry, I'm reading ahead of a comment. I don't even have it up on the board. This is one of those situations, Star Wars, where I'm okay with Kyle Schwarber batting second. 100% okay with that. So there you go. MP putting up the USA Today Team USA projected starting lineup. All right. MP says too many teams. 20 what? 20 teams in the Classic? What's wrong with that? Should be more. They should have the World Baseball Classic should be, and again, I don't know if we talked about this. I put up a post today on the socials there. The World Baseball Classic will not use ABS. So I want you to know that. The World Baseball Classic will not use ABS. That's an interesting point here that everyone needs to remember. So for all you armchair umpires out there are going to be crying for ABS, you won't see it in the World Baseball Classic because too many teams they don't use it in other places. Well, they don't use it in all the places. So they're not going to use ABS in the World Baseball Classic. So just so you guys get a handle on that. And I don't know if they're going to bring back the stupid box for this tournament, but they won't use ABS. And also, this means something, right? In 2028, in the Summer Games in LA, baseball's coming back. They're bringing baseball back to the Olympics in 2028. Now, whether or not Major League Baseball participates in it, we don't know because that's going to have to be settled in the new CBA. They'll put that in the new CBA, yes or no, right? But I think the Olympics are something like it's like the 14th or the 12th of July through like 30th or something like that. And the baseball event is from the 13th to the 19th. Now, for those of you that remember, that's eerily similar to an all-star break. I mean, that makes a lot of sense there. So obviously the Olympics are hedging their bets that the MLB will participate in the 2028 games, and the World Baseball Classic will be part of the feeder process. So I believe the top 2 finishing America teams from the Americas, either South or North America, the top 2 finishing teams will get a bid to the Summer Games in 28. The United States has got an automatic bid because they are the host country. So Team USA will be represented in the 2028 games. So they'll pick 2 teams out of the World Baseball Classic, the top 2 America finishing teams, aside from the USA. They won't be part of that because they got an automatic bid because they are the host nation. Then they will settle the other teams through other tournaments over the course of the next year and a half. The teams from Europe, Asia, Oceania, and then they'll come up with 8 teams. So 3 teams are coming out of the WBC. The automatic bid for Team USA, and then the top 2 America team finishers will be part of, and they'll earn an Olympic bid through the WBC. So this means something when it comes to potential Olympic baseball with the MLB participating in 2028. So I'm all about it, man. I'm all about this. This is great. I can't wait. I've been waiting for the WBC I've been waiting since the last tournament, man. I had a bitter taste in my mouth when they lost to Japan. When I still have that memory in my head of Mike Trout striking out, or Shohei striking out Mike Trout at the time when they were still, I think, they were still teammates at that point. But man, I got some bitter memories of that damn tournament. I really do. I've been wanting revenge since then, and I can't wait for the start of it. March 5th is when the tournament begins. I believe Team USA's first game is March 7th. So anyway, all right, let's transition now because I've gone too late. I have to we got to transition for the Clear the Ice program. So for those of you that want to stay tuned, please do, as we will stop the final word and we will transition right over to Clear the Ice as we're going to wrap up Flyers Maple Leafs. Flyers with the 3-2 win in overtime. So we're going to do that right now. So stand by, and we will be back in about 40 seconds or so. So stand by for Clear the Ice here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are now Clear the Ice here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Boy, MattyB on the call. You might remember me for about 40 seconds ago on the final word, but now we're doing some hockey. Flyers 3-2 winners in the shootout tonight in Toronto. 3 games down the road. They've won after coming out of the Olympic break on a low note against Washington. They've won now the last 3 games and have propelled themselves right back into the playoff conversation. 67 points now for the Flyers in a wild one up there in Toronto against a struggling Maple Leaf team north of the border. Let's get to this baby right off the bat. Let's do what we do here on this program. We'll talk some of the admin notes. The healthy scratches or not in the lineup for the Flyers tonight were Travis Konechny, Noel Juulsen, and Adam Ginning. For Toronto, Kaylee Jannerock, Troy Sketcher, and Nicholas Robertson were scratches for the Maple Leafs. In net for the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Dan Vladar continues to play above and beyond his head. 31 shots tonight, 29 saves, and finishes with a stellar 0.935 goals against, or save percentage, sorry, not goals against average for the Toronto Maple Leafs. What's his face? Stolarz, our boy Anthony Stolarz got the nod. He faced 25 shots and finished with a 0.920 save percentage on the night. So let's get into the summary, or let's wrap this thing up for the Flyers. It was the Maple Leafs getting off to the early start at the 15:22 mark of that first period. Dakota Joshua, his seventh from McAnally, to make it 1-0 the Maple Leafs. But Christian Dvorak, surprisingly, with 13 goals, man, on the power play. And that's a great thing, as the Flyer power play had spiked a bit there for a bit heading into the Olympic break. They were up to a 17% effective rate in the power play, but it has fallen since then. But Dvorak with the power play goal, his 13th of the year from Cates and Denver Barkey, making it 1-1 at the 18:38 mark, a late period goal. Those goals are backbreakers. We've said it on this post-game show bazillion times. You never want to give them up late, and you never want to give them up early in periods, because they are backbreakers. But the Flyers would force a tie heading into the first period. For that period, the Flyers doubled up the Maple Leafs in shots, 14-7. Into the second period, it was the goalie show, as neither team could light the lamp in that second period. Toronto had the sizable edge on the shots on goal, 11-4 over the Flyers. And then the third period, the Flyers at the 14:42 mark would finally break free, or break through. Seemingly at the time, I thought it was the game winner, as Noah Cates would get his 12th from Bobby Brink, his 13th, to make it 2-1. But then about 3 or 4 minutes later at 17:30, again on the power play, and it was a power play, I believe, on the Denver Barkey penalty, William Nylander, his 20th from Tavares and Kenais, tie things up at 2. The game would end at that point in regulation. The third period shots on net, it was 9-5 Toronto. The teams would not be able to get through in the OT, and Trevor Zegras with the shootout winner to give the Flyers the win. And as I said, third in a row, the Flyers have now won after coming out of the Olympic break in a losing effort against the Capitals. Flyers would be outshot on the night 31-25. 1 for 3 of the Flyers were on the power play, but so were the Maple Leafs. Special teams for the Flyers. Again, we've already well documented the Flyers power play issues. The power play has actually improved slightly this year. They are no longer a 12, 11, 10%. I mean, there was a time last year the Flyers were operating at 9% effective on the power play, but they're up in that 15, 16 range now, which I still think is low. And there's really, and MattyB's old chart here, if you're not effective at least 20% on the power play, then you're just not an effective team. But the Flyers are making very minuscule steps forward on their power play. But the side of their special teams that has been a real disappointment has been the shorthanded, or the power play, or the PK. They gave up another goal tonight, another power play goal. They are now less than 80% effective on the PK, and that's been a real problem all year long. One that they really have not figured out, and that's very upsetting to me. And partly because the Flyers are probably one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League with giving the puck away. 17 more giveaways tonight. They only took the puck away 8 times. 8 times is actually pretty good. But 17 more giveaways on the night for the Flyers, as they are I think they're averaging about 16 giveaways a game. And that just ain't going to cut it, man. That's just not going to cut it. But they did get they got 14 block shots, and ultimately did get the win in the in the shootout. Trevor Zegras with the shootout winner. 3-2 Flyers is your final. Next up for the Flyers will be on Thursday night, as they will return home against the Mammoth of Utah. And, the question that was brought up earlier on this program was, should the Flyers be buyers or sellers? And I'm going to get into that here in a second. MP says the Stubbs brothers are the catchers for Team Israel. Yeah, I saw that. And actually, I didn't even know Garrett Stubbs' brother was a catcher. He played against the Phillies the other day. I think was it Toronto? Maybe he plays for. But yeah, I did see that. Joe Hale says Mitch Koff looks improved. Yeah, I guess. But I guess no points tonight for Mitch Koff. Matter of fact, what's Mitch Koff's line? Let's look at his line tonight. Mitch Koff. He had 18 minutes on ice, which is pretty good. He did finish the night with a +1. 23 shifts and no shots on goal. It's very interesting. That's not good. But 18 minutes on the ice, over 18 minutes, 18:30 was his ice time tonight, which is you want to see that, obviously, because he is supposedly the future of this organization. But yeah, I mean, the Mitch Koff situation, and Joe, to further answer your question, I think all players are on the board or on the block to include Matthew and Mitch Koff. I truly do. But anyway, getting back to the Mitch Koff had a great shootout goal. When? It wasn't in this game, was it? I didn't see anything about the shootout goal from Mitch Koff. Oh yeah, he did have a shootout goal, but doesn't go down on the scoreboard. Doesn't count, Joe. Doesn't count towards the stat sheet, man. And Zegras had a even better one. Well, that was the game winner. He had a good shootout goal. Yeah, he did. But let me get back to Mitch Koff. All right. Here's the thing. The problems that Mitch Koff is dealing with are a character problem. There's more going on with Mitch Koff than I think people think. I think Mitch Koff is not somebody that honestly you build around. I'm not saying he's not quality, and I'm not saying he's not a player that you can have on your team to push you into that next level. I'm not saying that. But what we drafted him for is not what he will be for this hockey team. He's just not going to be that guy. Now, do you look at this season and be like, hey, maybe he's sort of got a lesson, what it takes to be an NHL pro? Is Rick Tocchet the right guy for him? Time will tell. I'm not saying you move off of Mitch Koff next week and, package him in a trade on Friday, unless you could pull friggin' Connor McDavid out of that deal. I'd say no, but hitching your wagon to a Matty and Mitch Koff, to me, is just not something that I'm ready to do right now. Now, does he come back for year 3 and have a better season? Does he come in the camp? Does he have a different attitude? Does he accept what he is and accept that he has to work to be better? Okay, we'll see. But right now, the Matty and Mitch Koff situation, he's just, in my opinion, another piece, another role player here. And that if there's an opportunity to get better without him, I'm open to all offers. And honestly, I would 100% listen to any and every offer when it comes to any player on this hockey team, because unlike a lot of people, I still buying into the rebuild. I in terms of I obviously was one of the champions of that rebuild, that it had to happen. I don't necessarily like the way the Flyers have handled the rebuild. Now, there's layers to this. There was the salary cap problems that the Flyers have had, and they've gotten off of that. And they got a lot of money to spend this summer. Problem is, they don't have too many free agents out there that fit their needs. Once again, because the NHL now it was looking pretty good. What was the 2 players that were leading the charge in the free agency next year? It was going to be McDavid, who was never going to be a free agent, and there was Jack Eichel that was on the potential free agent market. But the NHL threw the Flyers a curveball back in October by upping the salary cap, allowing Edmonton to re-sign McDavid to a 2-year extension, and Vegas to break the bank on an 8-year extension on Eichel. So they're off the board, and there's nothing really there right now that honestly fits the Flyers' needs in the skilled positions. There's one player that I could see that they could potentially make a move for. And it's not even, but just right now, this is what you're looking at as your free agent class. UFA at the center position, which we don't have anything right now. Kevin Hayes, Andres Lee, 36 years old. Kopitar, 38 years old. Malkin, friggin' 39 years old. Nick Schmaltz, 30 years old. Doable, right? He's coming out of Vegas. He's a free agent. Or not Vegas, Utah. Charlie Coyle, 34. It kind of goes down this list. And there's really, to me, there's nobody out here. I mean, it just doesn't look good, right? So I don't see the Flyers able to turn this thing around via free agency. I don't, because there's not enough players out there that fit the Flyers timeline. They're all older. So you're going to have to do it two other ways, and that's through the trade and through drafting. And we went over this on the final word. Flyers only have like 5 draft picks heading into the summer. They really don't. They don't have that much. Every year with this team, you're going to have to start drafting. And I think that the Flyers, could they ride this wave into the playoffs? Yeah, I guess they could. But would they come out of the playoffs any better? And I mean that, I really mean that. Any better with solving the long-term problems of this team? No. They'd be a one and done. They might make some noise, win a game, maybe win 2. But we're going to still be left with the same product at the end of the season, and we're not going to have the assets in order to build onto that product for next year. Now, there's some internal names. We've talked about these names too. Porter Martone is one of them. He more than likely will be a Flyer at some point in late March when the Frozen Four ends. And you got the Jetlachenko fiasco. I mean, there's a player or two down there. Jack Nesbitt's about 2 years away. There's not enough in the cupboards right now to make a significant leap forward in 2026, 2027. Not that they're going to be able to go out and actually affect that through the trade deadline, but my point is that you got to be sellers. You just got to be sellers. With the way the free agency is setting up, there's just not enough players. There's not enough players out there that fit the Flyers timeline. There's just not. And it's just not the way it is. And again, the NHL sort of threw the Flyers a curveball by raising up that salary cap in season, taking Eichel and McDavid, who Connor McDavid was never coming here, but they took him off the board, right? So instead of just aiming low for a friggin' number 8 seed and a one and done playoff chance, but yes, again, I don't want this team to set a record by not making the playoffs for 6 straight years, but I need a jump start to this rebuild, and dealing a player along the lines of a Travis Konechny, a MattyB Michkov, a player like that. That is the aggressiveness that Danny B has got to start looking at. That is the aggressiveness that he's got to start. He's got to take the step, man. And he's sort of kind of dipping his toe in. And it's too cold. He's got to jump in in order to sort of energize this. And maybe it's not the right trade and it fails, but at least they tried. But this Stinkin' and Duncan, Owen Tippett, what's he going to bring you back? A 3rd round pick, maybe a 4th round pick. I need a splash, man. I need multiple 1st round picks. I need about 3 or 4 AHL top prospects. I need that trade. I need the Eric Lindros, or not the Eric Lindros. I need the John LeClair trade of 1994, right? I need that kind of trade. And I need Danny B to execute that thing sooner than later, because this team is stuck in this mode. This is what they are. This is as good as the Flyers are right now. And they're not going to be much better than this. 3 straight wins is a great thing. Ton of games left, 22 left in the season, right? We're up to game 60. They're still averaging less than 3 goals a game. They're still averaging about 15% on the power play. They're still averaging now less than 80% penalty kill. They still average 15 giveaways a game. You know, they're averaging about 25 shots a game. That's not enough. That's not enough. That's the squeak into the playoff type team. But that's not something that you can look at and say, wow, this is a good start to this process. It's not. There's some pieces here. There's some good players here, but there's better players out there. There's better potential out there. And the Flyers they gotta do something. They gotta make a splash. Now, moving off of a Travis Konechny at the trade deadline, maybe not the smartest thing to do because you're not going to get max value from him. You're not, and you're going to be trading him to a top level team. So you're not going to get high capital from him, but you might get a lot of capital to move capital around and parlay that into a higher pick this summer. And if you make the playoffs, you take yourself out of the lottery and you go down in that like 17, 18, 19 tier versus a potential first round pick or a first overall pick as a lottery team. Flyers won't get that pick because they never do, but they would put themselves in a position again to get that. By making the playoffs and going one and done, they've removed themselves from the lottery and they put themselves down in the bottom middle of the draft. I don't want that. No, I don't want that because the Flyers are not that team. So to answer your question, Joe, in a more succinct way, I want them to be sellers. And I want them to make a significant move with some of these pieces to set up a summer where they move off of a Travis Konechny or a potential Matty Michkov. That's how I feel about the Flyers, man. I'm getting kind of frustrated. Porter Martone will be that guy. Okay, as a right winger, is he going to be a center? Don't forget MP. We got a bunch of wingers on this team right now, and I'm not saying Porter Martone won't be that guy. He's not going to be Cutter Gauthier, right? He's not that guy, and we had that guy, and he's also not a center. So I'm not saying I don't want to see him, and would be excited to see him, but he's not a center. All right, I don't know what else to say. What about Austin Matthews? Some rumors that they may be on the trade block. Toronto is definitely not having a good little push right now. I don't know, man. That's a good point. Austin Matthews, I take him for the right price. But does he fit our timeline? I don't know. I'd be saying that the Flyers will not be relevant. I agree with you, Michael. I agree. TK must be on the trade block since he was mysteriously scratched tonight. He might be, but I don't think moving him at the deadline would be wise unless the Flyers are going to get a haul back. And when I say a haul, I mean like multiple draft picks that they could use to move up because they're going to end up trading him to like Colorado or Minnesota or an upper tier team that is making a playoff push. So we're not getting a top tier spot in the draft. We're going to get a bottom pick. But unless it's multiple picks and multiple players involved, then okay. But if not, I'd rather hold off on a TK move until the summer. TK, Tippett, and whoever for Austin Matthews, I need a little bit more than that in return. Austin Matthews is on the other side of his career in a way, Not to say I wouldn't take him. I would take him. But I need a little bit more than that. I need about maybe a draft pick and an AHL player as well. But I'm definitely not averse to that. Not at all. But the Flyers do get the win tonight, 3-2 in the shootout. They've now won 3 in a row. It's up to 67 points, 69 now. 9 points. Like that. And we will be back more permanently as we'll return to a standalone Clear the Ice program starting Thursday with the Mike Laro version of this program, and then I'll be back on a standalone version of this show on Saturday. So make sure you're tuned in then. And everything else that's going on in the network, here is the schedule once again. Tomorrow night, look out for the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight's program and me, and then the rest of the programming this week. A couple notables here. There is no Philly Friday Frenzy with Big Al on Friday, and Al's got a personal issue that he'll tend to. He'll be back next week. And the Gridiron Weekly Report is moving to Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. beginning this week. So be on the lookout for that. And that is all the stuff that's happening on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. So make sure you're there. And I can't even think of the last superstar the Flyers had, Drew. That's debatable, MP. That's debatable. You may have to go all the way back to friggin' what? Richards and what was the other one? The two of them that came up from the Carter and Richards. You might have to go back to those two. And if you don't buy them, you have to go to Lindros. I mean, that point taken. You know what I mean? That's how long it's been. All right? That's how long it's been. But Drew is debatable. Jeff Carter is debatable. Michael Richards is debatable. You may have to go all the way back to Lindros. And that's sad. And that's a sad state of the franchise. Make sure you guys are tuned in. I will be back tomorrow at 9 for the final word. So this was a little bit of a teaser for 10 o'clock because we'll be going back to our 10 o'clock time slot starting on March 22nd. So this show will be returning, or not this show, but the final word will be returning to 10 o'clock on March 22nd as we gear up for our summer programming schedule. And I was just down on 9 o'clock for the winter. Be going back to 10 o'clock on March 22nd. But tomorrow I'll be back at 9. So make sure you're there for that. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. It was great to be back. 8 days was too long without a show. So I'll be back tomorrow night. So enjoy the rest of your night. And yeah, I'm out of here.